Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of being a mechanical engineer. We've got some really interesting data from RoleCatcher to dig into. So let's get right to it.
It's funny how many people hear mechanical engineer and think car mechanic, but it's so much more than that.
For sure. I mean, we're talking about designing the future, not just fixing cars.
Mm.
RoleCatcher actually describes mechanical engineers as innovative problem solvers.
I like that. And speaking of problem solving, the industries mechanical engineers work in are incredibly diverse.
Seriously. I was looking at the list earlier, and it's like everything from manufacturing to aerospace to robotics.
It's really quite remarkable. RoleCatcher actually highlights how mechanical engineers are just as likely to be found creating a tiny medical device as they are designing a massive wind turbine.
Wow, talk about range. Seems like if it moves, a mechanical engineer was probably involved in some way.
Pretty much. And that's what makes this field so exciting. You could be tackling climate change one day and then designing cutting-edge robotics the next.
Okay, so we're getting a sense of the inventor vibe here. But what does it actually take to be a mechanical engineer? Beyond loving to build stuff, of course.
Right. Well, RoleCatcher actually breaks down the essential skills, and some of them might surprise you.
Yeah, actually, I was surprised by a few. Let me guess. Math and science are up there.
You know it. Math comes in at a whopping 70% importance, according to their data, and science is right behind at 66%.
Okay, that tracks. But get this. Reading comprehension is tied with math at 70%. That one threw me for a loop.
And that's where things get really interesting. You see, being a mechanical engineer isn't just about equations and formulas. You're collaborating with teams, interpreting complex research, and presenting those technical details in a way that anyone can understand.
I guess I always pictured a workshop full of blueprints, not necessarily a stack of research papers.
Those blueprints are crucial, of course. But you've got to be able to understand and apply the latest research, especially when working with new materials and technologies. You can't design something if you don't understand how it works.
Okay, point taken. Strong reading skills.
Yeah.
Check. But it doesn't stop there, right? RoleCatcher also emphasizes communication speaking at 55% and writing at 57%. So no hiding from the world in a basement lab, huh?
Definitely not. In fact, being able to communicate your ideas clearly and effectively is just as important as the ideas themselves. You'll be working with other engineers, technicians, clients, people with different levels of technical understanding. Being able to explain a complex concept in a way that everyone can understand, that's a superpower in this field.
So go the analytical side with math and science, the communication skills for collaborating and innovating. What else makes a mechanical engineer tick, according to RoleCatcher?
Well, two things really stand out. Complex problem solving and critical thinking. They both ranked really high at 68% and 61% respectively.
Which makes sense, right? You're basically a professional puzzle solver figuring out how to make things work better, more efficiently, maybe even inventing something totally new.
Exactly. And you're often dealing with limitations, budget constraints, safety regulations, materials that don't always behave the way you want them to. It's a real challenge.
It sounds like it.
Mm.
I mean, you don't just walk out of school and magically become a mechanical engineering master.
Yeah.
What does RoleCatcher say about bridging that gap between theory and real-world experience?
This is where it gets really interesting. RoleCatcher actually quotes one hiring manager as saying, "Give me someone who's built their own 3D printer over someone who aced their thermodynamics exams any day."
Wow, that's pretty straightforward. So practical experience is key.
Absolutely. RoleCatcher talks about internships, co-op programs, personal projects. They're all about getting your hands dirty and applying those theoretical concepts to real-world problems.
I totally get that. It's like the difference between reading about how to bake a cake
Yeah.
and actually, baking one. You learn a lot more by doing.
Precisely. And speaking of having the right tools in your kitchen, RoleCatcher also stresses the importance of certifications.
Right. They specifically mentioned the professional engineer PE license, which I've always heard is a big deal.
It is. It's kind of like the gold standard for independent practice. It shows potential employers that you've had rigorous standards and have the experience to back it up.
Got it. So it's not just about knowing the stuff. It's about having that official stamp of approval.
Yeah.
But the PE isn't the only certification they highlight, is it?
Nope. There are a bunch of others, often focusing on specific skills or software. They can be really valuable depending on what you want to do.
They mentioned the Certified SolidWorks Professional, or CSWP. What is that exactly? Sounds familiar.
Right. Remember we were talking about CAD software earlier?
Ah, yes. Computer-aided design.
Exactly. Well, SolidWorks is one of the industry standard CAD software packages out there. The CSWP shows employers you know how to use it effectively.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've got the hands-on experience, certifications. What else should aspiring mechanical engineers have in their toolkit?
Well, you can have all the tools in the world, but if you can't get through the interview, it won't get you very far. And that's where RoleCatcher's interview prep resources come in.
Oh yeah, their interview question database is seriously impressive. It's not just the basic stuff either.
Right, they really dig deep, with questions designed to test your problem-solving skills and technical knowledge.
Like, can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a complex mechanical issue? Those can be tough.
They can, but that's the beauty of RoleCatcher's database. It's not about memorizing answers, it's about learning how to think through those tough questions. By practicing with their database, you're training your brain to analyze problems, think on your feet, and communicate your solutions clearly.
So it's like having a bunch of mock interviews without the actual pressure of a real interview.
Exactly. Even if you don't get asked the exact same questions, going through that process is invaluable.
It's like having a secret weapon. Gives you that extra confidence boost going in.
Speaking of which, RoleCatcher brought up something else that I found really interesting: the rise of AI in the recruitment process.
AI reading resumes. AI judging our answers in an interview. That sounds kind of wild. I mean, is that really where we're headed?
It's definitely an interesting thought. And like most things with AI, it has the potential to be both good and bad.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Break it down for me. What does RoleCatcher say about the good side of AI in recruitment?
Well, one of the big things is automation AI could really help streamline a lot of the recruitment process, especially for mechanical engineers.
So like what? Taking over those repetitive tasks that engineers often have to do?
Exactly. Think about things like optimizing designs, running simulations, even generating reports. AI could handle a lot of that stuff.
Which frees up engineers to focus on the more creative
Right.
problem-solving stuff.
Precisely. It's about working smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
And having AI as a tool could really boost efficiency and productivity.
Okay, I'm seeing the appeal here.
Yeah.
But you mentioned a bad side too. What's the catch?
Well, as AI takes on more of those routine tasks, it means mechanical engineers will need to be even more adaptable, always learning and growing to stay ahead of the curve.
So basically, always be ready to learn new skills.
Yes. It's not just about knowing the engineering principles anymore. It's about understanding how to work with AI, how to interpret its output, and how to make sure it's being used ethically.
It's like any good partnership. You've got to understand each other's strengths to really make it work.
Exactly. So for anyone looking to get into mechanical engineering or anyone already in the field, keep learning, keep adapting, and definitely keep an eye on AI. It's going to play a big role in shaping the future of the field.
That's some great advice. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of mechanical engineering. From designing life-saving devices to tackling climate change, it's a field that's full of opportunity and constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Absolutely. And as we learned from RoleCatcher, it takes a unique blend of technical expertise, creativity, and adaptability to thrive in this field.
And hey, if you're looking to kickstart your own mechanical engineering journey, RoleCatcher seems like a fantastic resource. They've got everything from interview prep to insights on the latest industry trends.
For sure. Definitely worth checking out.
All right, everyone, that's it for today's deep dive. Until next time, keep those gears turning.